Turn with me to the book of Acts. You know, the book of Acts wasn't called the book of Acts in its original writing. It was called the book of infallible proof. When the proof is infallible, you can argue all you want. Talk about it till you're blue in the face, but it's not going to change what it is. Acts chapter 16, verses 25 through 26. Acts 16, 25 through 26. We're still working out our microphone situation. We have some new ones, but we ordered the wrong cord and almost blew the place up. So we're working on it. We don't want to tie nothing up. I might have to call Pastor Lorraine to come help us out here, but I don't want to blow nothing out. Now we looking real crazy. Amen. Acts 16, 25 through 26, it says, "But at midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the prisoners were listening to them." Isn't it interesting? You want a ministry? Go do prison ministry. You got a captive audience in prison ministry. Suddenly, there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison were shaken. And immediately, all the doors were open, and everyone's chains were loose. Immediately. No delay, no time restraint, nothing holding anything up. Immediately, all the doors were open and everyone's chains were loose. Paul and Silas are praying and singing to God. The very foundation of the prison that they found themselves in was shaken. Doors were open. Chains were broken. For a few short moments, I want to speak from the subject of the Breakout Brothers. The Breakout Brothers. Father God, thank you for this opportunity to share in your word and to lift up your people. I pray that whatever it is you have to say, it will be taken to heart, that people will be able to believe and apply it to their life. And let no chain, no chain, bind them and keep them from all that you've called them to be. In Jesus' name, amen. This particular message is inspired by a childhood memory of one of my favorite movies when we were still in cable. When we had access to HBO. There's a movie called The Blues Brothers. And for those of you who were blessed to be around in the 1980s, I told you I was born in the 70s, but forged by the 80s and the 90s, in the fire of the 80s and the 90s. The Blues Brothers is a movie, comedic film, starring Dan Aykroyd and the late, great John Belushi. And what you'll have to understand about the Blues Brothers is they were on a mission from God to save their orphanage. Being that they were musicians, their plan to save their orphanage was to put on a benefit concert and raise money to pay off a debt that the orphanage they grew up in owed. This mission led them to many run-ins with the law, including car chases, evading arrests, and many other dangerous situations. But my most memorable scene from this movie is the jailhouse scene. What you'll notice in the jailhouse scene is it displays a high energy performance showcasing their musical talent while singing Elvis Presley's Jailhouse Rock. What we learn from the Blues Brothers is being on a mission from God can land you in places that you never thought you would end up in. But just because you've landed there doesn't mean your mission or your purpose ends there. And what happened to you can't stop you. Whatever it is that you're up against can't block you. And what was meant to limit you will ultimately lift you if you allow it to. What ended up happening with Jake and Elwood Blues, the Blues Brothers, is that they raised the money, paid off the debt, did their time, and never lost sight of their mission. Because the mission wasn't in the orphanage's need. It was in their ability to provide life-changing music no matter what the circumstances were. And what we can understand is that in life, you can't let the circumstances stop your music. The circumstances can't stop your music. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care what it is that you find yourself up against. I'm not going to let what I'm going through stop me from singing. I'm not going to let what I'm going through stop me from being all that I'm supposed to be. I'm not going to let what I'm facing stop me from walking out life in the way that I'm supposed to walk out life. I'm still going to sing. I'm still going to praise. I'm still going to worship. I'm still going to lift up, because just because I'm in some change don't mean that the change got me. Oh my God, you got to allow the situation that you're in to feed your mission instead of starving your mission. I'm going to stay on mission no matter where I am. I'm going to stay on mission no matter what I'm facing. I'm going to stay on mission regardless of all the things that I find up against me, because greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world. And what we learn here, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and his sisters, what I need you to understand is that in our text, Paul and Silas are in prison because of their mission from God. And I don't know about Silas, but Paul has always seemed to be an expert at being effective while in prison. I'm going to say that again. Paul has always seemed to be an expert at being effective while in prison. Prison seemed to just be a simple state of mind for Paul. Prison never truly posed a limitation on Paul. And some will even argue, y'all ain't going to believe this, that Paul's most effective work was done while in prison. Y'all don't believe nothing. It was Paul, while he was in prison, he received the revelation of the armor of God. While Paul was in prison, he received the revelation of the administrative acts of the fivefold ministry gifts. While Paul was in prison, he got the revelation of whatsoever is true, whatsoever is honorable, whatsoever is just, whatsoever is pure, whatsoever is lovely, whatsoever is praiseworthy. Don't think on your chains, baby. Think on these things. It was while he was in prison that he got the revelation of Christ in you, the hope of glory. And watch this. Isn't it fascinating how someone well versed in the intricacies of chains seem blissfully unbothered by them? I'm going to say that again. Isn't it interesting that someone well-versed in the intricacies of chains seem blissfully unbothered by them? Some of us can have the slightest thing happen to us and we act like we can't function. Your best friend stopped talking to you. You can't get out the bed. You burnt your roast and now you mad. Now you act like you can't eat. You can't do this. I can't function. I can't do that at the slightest thing. But here is Paul, well versed in chains, well versed with being behind bars, well versed with being the enemy of the state, well versed with having warrants, well versed with having people coming after him. Yet here he is, unbothered by chains, unbothered by the restrictions, unbothered by the things that other people trip over, the things that keep other people bound, the things that keep other people from lifting their hands and living their best life. Paul is living his best life in chains. Paul is doing his best work with chains. Paul is doing his best work behind bars. Paul is doing his best work with restrictions and wardens and all types of guards all around here. Yet here we are with all of this freedom, with all of this liberty, with all of this access, and we ain't doing nearly half the stuff this man was doing with chains. I preached a message some time ago when Paul told them, remember these chains. Why? Because the chains are only a state of mind. The chains can't stop you. The restrictions can't stop you. The thing trying to block you can't stop you. The haters can't get to you. When you understand that no matter whatsoever state I am in, I'm going to think on these things. I got the freedom and the liberty to be all that I can possibly be. There's a story about a POW who was a golf expert who went on to serve in the military and ended up being a POW. He gets out, finally gets free, and he immediately enters a tournament. Folk were tripping. Bro, you ain't played in 10 years. How you end up in this tournament? He goes on and places third in the tournament, and they really tripping. So after the interview, they asked him, how are you able to place third place in this tournament after being a POW for 10 years? He said, y'all understand? Every day in my mind, although I was in prison, although I had guards all around me, although I was half dead half the time, although I didn't have enough to eat, although there was rats, although there was roaches, although it was cold, although it was hot, I played a round of golf in my mind every day for the past 10 years. I worked on my mechanics while I was behind bars. I worked on my stroke while I was in behind bars. I visioned myself on the fairway, getting my swing together while I was behind bars, because nothing, just because I was behind bars, don't stop me from being all that I'm called to be and doing all that I'm called to do. Y'all still don't believe me yet? Yeah, y'all still don't believe me yet? Y'all don't believe nothing. Watch this. Paul pastored churches from prison. Paul settled disputes from prison. Paul gave hope and cast vision from prison. And what we learn from Paul here is some things are just a state of mind. Prison had his body, but not his imagination. Prison had his body, but not his charisma. Prison had his body, but not his creativity. And can I tell y'all something and still be your friend? You too free to be ineffective. You too free to be ineffective. With all the freedom you got, with all the liberty you got, with everything you working with, you gonna sit back and act like you ain't got the liberty to create nothing? You should have been busy. You should have been creative. You should have been out of that situation. You should have been running circles around the enemy who's trying to trap and ensnare you. You too free to be ineffective. Too often, we allow what we perceive as bondage to rob us of our breakthrough. Can I give y'all a little Black History lesson? It is Black History Month. Stanley Tookie Williams went from being the founder of the Crips to an author of childhood books educating children against gang violence. Watch this. Not while he was free, while he was on death row. Nelson Mandela became a symbol of resistance against South African apartheid, not on the outside, while spending 27 years in prison. Malcolm X educated himself and became a prominent civil rights figure while in prison. For my Muslim brothers, I wasn't trying to mess that up because it was Malcolm. And Martin Luther King Jr. wrote one of his most profound and powerful missives, a letter from Birmingham jail that revolutionized the white moderate American citizens' involvement with the civil rights movement while he was in jail. And what keeps a lot of us from being like them is when life happens to us, we don't always happen back to life. I'm going to say it again. What keeps a lot of us from being like them is because when life happens to us, we don't always happen back to life. And can I tell y'all something that'll still be your friend? If you only accept what life offers, you'll always end up with scraps. If you only accept what life offers, you will always end up with scraps and leftovers. Yeah, I should have put that on there. Yeah, if you only accept what life offers, you'll always end up with leftovers, because life was only going to give you what life wants you to have. You've got to learn how to take it for yourself. I ain't going to let life control my decisions. I ain't going to let life control how I get over in life, how I break through in life, how I get to new levels in life. So what? You were born in a bad situation, you still can win. So what? You had a baby out of wedlock when you were a teenage pregnancy, you still can win. So what? You were born in a situation that most people would not have been able to overcome, but you still can win. You got to learn how to stop allowing life to give you what it wants, because life ain't gonna never give you the thing that you're really worthy of. Life ain't never gonna give you the thing that you're really called to. Life ain't gonna never give you what it is that you deserve and what you desire. You've got to learn how to take it. Oh, I'm snatching what's mine in this season. I'm taking what's mine in this season. I don't care if I'm behind bars. I don't care where I am. I don't care what I've been through. I'm gonna learn to take what it is that's mine in this season. Look at somebody and say, take it. And so what we learn here is, it's interesting that Paul wrote letters from prison. Paul settled disputes from prison. Paul gave revelation from prison. But this particular prison scene that Paul is in with Silas required a partner. I told y'all that 2024 is the year of partnerships, and that partnerships is going to bring stability. Oh, bye. Yee. Partnerships are going to bring stability to your life. And you see, some stuff you can do by yourself, but there are others that require the help and prowess you don't have. And there are moments in your life where you're not going to be able to rely on your own ability. And this environment that Paul and Silas is in is a different environment from the eventual Roman prison situations that Paul will find himself in the future. You must understand that this particular moment occurs 10 years before Paul is in prison in Rome. I'm going to do it. Thank you. Why is this important? While Paul was in prison in Rome, he was there as a Roman citizen who invoked his rights to have an audience with Caesar. Therefore, what came with invoking his rights to have an audience with Caesar is certain guarantees of protection. Caesar put Paul in a prison in the palace, chained him to a guard 24/7, made sure he had what he needed. His basic necessities were taken care of. He had food, he had clothes, he even had stationery to write them letters. And watch this, allow his mentees to come and visit with him and still receive mentoring and coaching while in prison. You have to understand that his prison time in Rome is where he wrote those epistles from that impact our life today. However, this particular prison experience in our text isn't as controlled as the Roman prison experience he has in the future. Although he's a Roman citizen, he's in the province of Macedonia. He's in the foremost city, Philippi, in the innermost part of the prison. Okay, let me run that back. He's a Roman citizen, but he's not in Rome. He's in the province of Macedonia. He's in Macedonia's foremost city, Philippi, but in the innermost part of the prison. Catch this. Paul is a long way from home. Can y'all tell? Look at somebody, tell man, that boy a long way from home. This ain't even home for him. He's in a bad situation. He's in a long way from being home, which means that he's a long way from being able to invoke any rights. Ask me why. Although Paul had a dual citizenship between Tarsus and Rome, the charges levied against him address his Jewish position, not his Roman one. So he couldn't even get out of this if he wanted to. He couldn't even invoke Roman rights because they didn't charge him according to Roman law. They charged him according to what he did as a Jew. They didn't charge him according to what he did as a Roman citizen. They charged him according to what he did as a Jew. They were like, they over here preaching this Jesus according to their heritage that don't have nothing to do with us. He can't even get his charges dropped. He can't even get out the situation. He goes before the magistrates, and the magistrates begin to strip their clothes off of him and Silas and beat them. He's not able to do anything but deal with the environment that his mission put him in. Oh my God, I almost tore that up. Ooh, I'm going to get some help with this real quick. He's not able to do anything but mess up the oil. But anyway, he's not able to do anything but do the thing that his mission put him in. Catch this, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. What you have to understand is that when the environment changes, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when the comfy confines of your situation change? What are you going to do when you're not able to invoke any rights? Because the thing that you are accused of won't allow you to invoke any rights. What are you going to do when you're not guaranteed anything? Because the thing that you're up against has put expectations on you that changes the situation. I look at somebody and say, this situation is different. This ain't what I faced in the past. This ain't nothing like I'm going to face in the future. I'm in a different situation and I'm not able to invoke any rights. I'm in a different situation and I can't call for an audience. I'm in a different situation and I can't get what I need when I need it, because this situation is different from anything I've ever faced. This situation is different from anything I've ever come up against. This situation is different from all the things that I've walked through before and all the things I'll walk through in the future. This is a different type of situation. So what Paul did, what he didn't need in Rome, he had in Philippi, which was a partner in Silas. A partner, watch this, that could pray with him, a partner that could worship with him, and a partner that could call down heaven with him. I need you to understand that when the environment and conditions of your life changes, you need somebody to walk with you through the change. You need somebody. See, you can't get them chains off of you until you get somebody who can walk with you through your change. Can you walk with me through my changing? Can you walk with me through a different environment? Can you walk with me through different conditions? Can you pray with me? Can you worship with me? Can you call down heaven with me? See, I don't need anybody to be cute in this season. I need somebody who can pray. I don't need anybody to be all smart in this season. I need somebody who will get undignified and begin to worship the Lord to get me out of this situation. Can you call down heaven? Oh my God, when the conditions change, because what Paul don't need in Rome, he had in Philippi, because God will make sure that you have what you need and who you need when you need them. Look at somebody and say, the conditions have changed. Can you pray with me? The conditions have changed. Oh, can you worship with me? This environment is different. This environment is difficult. I don't know how I'm going to come up out of this, but I hope that you're the one who can pray me through it. I hope that you're the one who can call down heaven and get me out of it. The conditions have changed. Watch this. What's interesting is, it's going to help somebody. It helped me. Who Paul ended up with in this situation versus who he originally thought would be there. Okay, somebody got it. I think Monica got it. Angel got it. Martez got it. Do y'all want me to say it again? Put it where the goats can get it. The late, great, one of my favorite activists, I can't think of his name right now, the Black Eagle, he used to say, put it where the goats can get it. Joe Madison, he passed away last month. Said, put it where the goats can get it. You mean, put it simple. Okay, I'm going to say it like I said it originally, because 3 people got it, y'all just slow. Catch this. What's interesting here is who Paul ended up with in this situation versus who he originally thought would be there. You've got to understand that the only reason Paul has Silas in this situation is because the person who would have been with him left him beforehand. Barnabas was Paul's original partner, but he got in his feelings because he didn't like the direction that Paul was going in, and the fact that Paul didn't want to take his nephew John Mark with him. Paul was like, he abandoned us, he can't go. The people you trying to introduce him to don't know him. Why are you trying to make an introduction on the work that we put down? Trying to introduce him in on it now? Well, we need Mark because Mark wrote the gospel according to Mark, but Mark chickened out early on in the mission. Now, he redeemed himself by writing the gospel according to Mark, and maybe that's why he left to write the gospel. But Paul was like, he can't come. Barnabas getting his feelings and leaves with Mark and go in one direction. Paul grabs Silas and go in the opposite direction. I don't even think they spoke again. And what I need you to understand is, Paul understood what we need to understand. And can I tell you, some people left your life at the right time. See, y'all don't want to be honest. Y'all want to be nice. And y'all want to pretend that everybody's for you and everybody's supposed to be with you at every stage of your life. But I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what you've got to understand from this particular setting with Paul is that some people leave your life at the right time so that someone else can come into your life to deal with the wrong times. Oh my God, that was good to me. Some people will leave your life at the right time so that someone else can come and deal with the wrong time. Because in this season, watch this, the season you're headed towards, you don't need people there who gonna always be in their feelings. You need somebody there who's gonna be in faith. Baby, I don't need you in your feelings. I need you in faith because of what we're about to face and what we're up against. Your feelings ain't going to help me. What we're about to face and what we're up against, your feelings ain't going to pull me out. Folk who are easily offended, get rid of them now. Folk who are quick to get upset, let them go now, because them leaving is going to save you time. Them leaving is going to save you energy, and them leaving is going to ultimately save your life. You run around here crying because they left. You run around here mad because they left. You run around here tweeting because they left. You run around here hashtagging because they left. You emailing and texting because they left. Not realizing that the reason that they left is because God's going to insert somebody else who's going to help you with what's ahead of you. But you can't see what's ahead of you because you're too busy living in the now because they left. Oh my God, you ought to tweet everybody and text everybody and email everybody that left you and say, baby, I'm glad you left because you leaving me helped me. You leaving me strengthened me. You leaving me lifted me. You leaving me covered me. Ooh, you didn't have what I need when I needed it. I'm glad you left. Because if Barnabas would have been there, he would have been in his feelings arguing. He would have been in his feelings blaming Paul. Look what you got us in. But the right person, Silas, was positioned because he understood, God understood that what was coming ahead of Paul required somebody who can bring some stability. Woo, and not friction. Watch this. Another thing I find interesting is Timothy, who ultimately became one of Paul's favorite spiritual sons, accompanied Paul and Silas and Luke on the mission, but he wasn't walking with Paul when he was thrown in prison. When the prison situation occurred, it's Paul and Silas, not Paul and Timothy. The text says that Paul and Silas were walking on their way to prayer when something went down that landed them in prison. All right, that don't mean nothing, y'all. Catch this. Timothy is one of Paul's favorite sons. Paul named 2 books after Timothy. Paul mentions Timothy throughout other letters he wrote. Paul identifies Timothy as a spiritual son, yet Silas, a brother who only appears between Acts 15 and Acts 18, is the one who's walking with them through a critical juncture in his life. Catch this. Can I tell you that sometimes it's not the person you show favor to that will be there for you when you need it? That went over y'all's head. Sometimes it's not the person that you share the most favor or show the most favor to that will be there for you when you need them. God will insert a person in your life for a season to get you through what people who you prefer can't get done. Did you all hear me? God will insert someone in your life for a season to get you through what the people you prefer can't get done. Sometimes we have our preferences and we wish it was so-and-so with us instead of such and such. We wish it was so-and-so with us instead of this person or that person, because we prefer the person who we love and the person who we put favor on to be the person that walks with us through a critical season. But sometimes it ain't the person who you favor. Sometimes it ain't the person who you prefer. Sometimes it ain't the person that you gave the introduction for. It's the person that's least likely to be expected that will walk with you through a difficult season that you didn't see coming. Was it? Timothy, you would expect to have been there. But Timothy ain't ready yet. The person you prefer to be there don't have the oil you need. Can I go back there? The person you prefer to be there ain't got the oil yet. We know Timothy was gifted. We know that Paul told him to stir up the gifts that his grandmother and his mother put in him with the laying on of hands. But the oil ain't there when he needs it. So God says between a season of Acts 15 and Acts 18, an oily brother named Silas. And what's interesting about Silas is Silas ain't got no books named after him. Silas ain't got no letters of introduction. Silas ain't introduced to no churches. Silas ain't given a reference by Paul. Silas ain't named by Paul nowhere else. But here he is in the most critical time of Paul's ministry, in the early stages, with the oil that Paul needed to shake the foundation of the thing that was trying to bind him. Okay, I'm preaching too hard. I'm going to preach anyway. Watch this. They're in prison. But let me tell you why they're in prison. They're in prison because Paul cast a fortune-telling spirit out of a young girl who had been following them and annoying them. She followed them for many days and would announce who they were as a warning to those in that region. Paul cast the spirit out of her, and because her owners couldn't make money off of her fortune telling anymore, they went to the magistrate, put the charges on Paul and Silas, got them stripped, beaten, and locked up. Okay, watch this. Paul is the one who cast the spirit out, but they arrested him and Silas. Okay, y'all don't get it yet. I'm going to say it again. Paul the one who cast spirit out, but him and Silas got arrested. Here's another reason why Silas is a critical partner for Paul in this situation. He ain't even did nothing, but never protested being arrested. Silas ain't did nothing. Silas was just there. It was Paul doing all the work. It was Paul doing all the casting. It was Paul that got mad. It ain't even say Silas got mad at the girl. Silas probably wasn't even paying attention to her. Paul is the one who got upset and cast the spirit out. But Silas is there and never protested being arrested. Can I help y'all understand something? That you need somebody on your team that say, dog, if they talking about you, I'm going to. Dog, if they got a problem with you, they got a problem with me. If you're putting charges on you, they got to put some charges on me. You need somebody in your life who will take a charge for you if they have to. You need somebody in your life who will go to the stocks and go through persecution with you if they have to. You need somebody in your life who will go down with you if they have to. If they coming after you, they coming after me. If they mad at you, they mad at me. If they cussing you, they cussing me. If they upset with you, they upset with me. I need somebody in my life who, even if they ain't done nothing, they are getting busy with it first and ask questions later. Get involved now and ask questions later. Silas is that kind of partner. He ain't done nothing, but ended up in jail and prison because he wasn't going to forsake his boy. What's this? He ain't tried to talk his way out of it. He didn't plead bargain. He was like, my boy going, I'm going too. And here's why I know Silas is the real deal. Luke says he was there. But Luke took the position, well, y'all go to jail, I'll write about it later. Somebody got to stay out to write about it. So somebody got to stay out to tell the story. I'll tell the story. Y'all go to jail. I'll tell the story. Luke ain't Bitmos got himself involved. Luke ain't Bitmos stepped in and say, I'm with them too. Luke was like, oh, yeah, man, I'm going to write about it. Somebody got to tell the story. Watch this. Here it is. Here's the point I want to make. Paul and Silas were in a different set of circumstances, in a different environment. However, they didn't allow the environment to change them. They changed the environment. They didn't allow the environment to change them. They changed the environment. The text says that Paul and Silas started singing and praying at midnight. What I find interesting here is that the text doesn't say when they were beaten and arrested and thrown in jail. But it tells us when they started singing and praying. But what we have to understand is that Paul maintained the Jewish custom of praying 4 times a day, meaning they prayed at the 3rd, the 6th, and the 9th hours and at midnight. And this is called the daily office, which means that they prayed certain themed prayers according to the time of day. God knows the theme of your life. And he knows what you need, when you need, and what you need to do. And it's according to the time that you in. And want to know one of the midnight prayers that they would pray? Here it is. Be present, O merciful God, and protect us through the hours of this night, so that we who are wearied by the changes and chances of this life may rest. That's one of the daily prayers at midnight. But it goes on to say this. Give me some of that special. Ooh, it goes on to say, keep watch, dear Lord, over those who are working. Keep watch, dear Lord, over those who are weeping. Keep watch, dear Lord, over those who are sleeping. Keep watch, dear Lord, over my family. Keep watch, dear Lord, over my friends. Keep watch, dear Lord, over my situation. Keep watch, dear Lord, over my health. Keep watch, dear Lord, over those who are broken. Keep watch, dear Lord, over those who are weak. Keep watch, dear Lord, over those who are hurt. Keep watch, dear Lord, over my money. Keep watch, dear Lord, over my situation. Keep watch, dear Lord, over all that I have. There is nothing that's under your authority that don't belong to me. There is nothing that's under your authority that you can't keep me from. Keep watch. Keep watch. Y'all don't want the Lord to watch over nothing. That's why y'all life look like it is. But if you was like me, you would get down on your knees and say, Lord, keep watch. I don't know how I'm coming out of it, but keep watch. I don't know how it's going to turn around, but keep watch. I don't know how this situation is going to work out, but keep watch. Dear Lord, because I need you in the midnight hour. I need you at the time of day it is. I need you in this moment. I need you in this situation. I need you in these circumstances. Keep watch. Dear Lord, bring us out of this. Bring us out of the trouble. Bring us out of the misery. Bring us out of this prison. Bring us out of this mess. Bring us out of this soil. Bring us out of these snares. Bring us out of these pits. Bring us out of this horrible situation. Keep watch. We need you, Lord. My family needs you. My children need you. My situations need you. My circumstances need you. Keep watch. Look out for me. Look out for my granny. Look out for my uncle. Look out for my nephew. Look out for my neighbor. Look out for my neighbor's children. Look out for their children and their children. Keep watch. And the text says that, oh my God, that at midnight, that Paul and Silas prayed and they began to sing hymns, and the prisoners who were listening, oh my God, oh God, and suddenly there was an earthquake, oh my God, that shook the foundations of the prison, and immediately I need me an immediately moment. I know y'all don't need nothing, but I need it immediately. I need it immediately on my money. I need it immediately in my situation. I need immediately in my circumstances. I need God to do what only God can do. Keep watch. Lord, lift us. Lord, pull us out. Lord, bring us through. Lord, keep watch. Paul and Silas began to pray and sing hymns, and the prisoners were listening to them, and suddenly, ooh, the foundations of the prison were shaken, and everyone's chains was loose. The Breakout Brothers. And God says this is your season to break out. This is your season to come through. This is your season to get the help you need. This is your season to get free. This is your season to leave some things behind. Keep watch, oh Lord, because we need you. Keep watch, oh Lord, because we desire you. Keep watch, oh Lord, because we need a breakthrough from you. For there are only some things, oh God, that will come into our life that can only come by you. Text goes on to say, y'all ain't gonna believe it. Everybody's chains were loose, but when the glory fell, nobody went anywhere. Now y'all gonna get mad at me, but I'm gonna say it. Reason why we be trying to run out of here so fast because ain't no glory. Because when the real glory comes, you can't just do nothing but sit in it. And the text says that the prisoners were loose, but didn't go nowhere. And right when the jailer was about to execute himself because he thought everybody was gone, Paul says, stay your hand. We are all here and accounted for. And the text says that the jailer came and ran and said, what must I do to be saved? Watch this. If it was me in that situation, the jailer wouldn't have got saved. I would have ran out of there. I said, keep watch, oh Lord. You kept right, broke me out. I'm gone. But because of Paul and Silas's integrity and their refusal to become fugitives, oh my God, the one who was responsible for them being there got saved. Watch this. The reason why some people can't get saved is because you always running. You always on the run. You always a fugitive. You a spiritual fugitive sometimes, running. But Paul and Silas refused to run. And watch this, the rest of the prisoners honored their integrity and stayed themselves. Because you never know who's watching you. I know you want to get out of here. I know we want to go on the run. I know we want to take off. Give me some music. I'm gone. I'm done. I done preached myself to a sweat, and I'm the only one who God and kept watch over because y'all wasn't repeating it with me. Keep watch. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, he going to keep watch over you. It's all good. But sometimes we miss our opportunity because we're so busy and ready to get out of what we're in. I'm telling you, man, it may not look like it, but I'm learning a lot in this season. And I may not always act like it, but I'm at one of the happiest stages of my life because I'm staying where God told me to stay. And I ain't running. I just believe, though, that we're in a season and a time where things are going to get difficult. But if you're properly partnered, I told y'all last week that the power was in the pairing. God will situate you and position you. And I wouldn't be partnered with nobody in this season who can't pray me through nothing. I wouldn't be partnered with nobody in this season who can't lift me up out of anything. I told y'all before, it's interesting that when Job's friends came while Job was going through what he was going through, they came to confront instead of coming to lift him out of it. Matter of fact, scripture say they tore off their clothes and put ashes on themselves and sat with them. Wait a minute. I need somebody to come and get the ashes off of me, man. Don't come and sit with me in these ashes. Tell me I can get out of these ashes. And we got to be properly partnered and positioned so that we can do all that God has called us to do and be all that God has called us to be. Father, I thank you today